I don't think there's any better place than Disney to answer my Q&A questions, or your Q&A questions. I tried doing it while I was up on Superstition Mountains, and it got rather long, and I didn't really want to edit it, but it ended up being like an hour and a half long because I just really went too far in depth. So I'm just going to redo them while I'm here, and then let me know in the comments what new questions you have, and I'll just keep answering them. So the first question is, what made you fall in love with Disney, and how has it changed over the years? If so, how? So for me, my parents divorced when I was young, and I ended up living in Southern California for a little while of my childhood, and my mother, stepfather would bring us to Disney once in a while. It was a treat. It wasn't something that we did all the time. We didn't have annual passes, and I can remember as a kid, my most memorable moment was the Main Street Electrical Parade. And to this day, I'm fascinated with lights. I love the lights. I do light shows at my house. I love the Main Street Electrical Parade. It has to be my favorite. The sounds, the lights, just the whole thing is amazing to me. I went to Disney a few times, right? I don't remember how many, probably 5 or less. And then I met my wife. She was a freshman in high school. I was a sophomore. And she was a huge, still is, a huge Pooh Bear fan, huge Disney fan. And so she really is the reason for my Disney love. I don't know if I wouldn't have met her that I would have the love for Disney that I do. Over the years of being with her, it has cultivated that love for Disney. I believe that she has a much larger love for Disney than I do. I enjoy coming here. I enjoy the rides. I enjoy the atmosphere. I love seeing the people. She is a walking knowledge of Disney that I just don't have because of the years of her being in love with Disney as a child and then growing up into adult. So that's how the love for Disney came about. As a child, you really don't know too much about how much Disney may or may not have changed. As an adult, price-wise, seems to be the biggest thing. From the point I started coming to Disneyland with my wife, early in our relationship, to becoming annual pass holders for Disneyland, and then annual pass holders for Walt Disney World, the biggest thing that I can say has been a difference is the price, the continual price increases. Other than that, the obvious things changed, like the rides, right? We've seen several rides go away and be replaced with other things, and while some people are sad about that, others understand that it's for progression, right? If the park always remained the same, it may not interest as many people to come to the parks because it would become stale. So in true Disney fashion, it's continually evolving, and I'm okay with that. Did I love rides like Splash Mountain? Sure. But Tiana's Bayou is the same ride with just a different theme. The enjoyment's still the same. So, like, for me, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't bother me. It needs to progress, and it needs to evolve so that way future generations can come to the parks and feel a part of it. That's what it's about, feeling a part of the stories and being able to escape real life by coming to the parks and immersing yourself in the stories. So if we left everything the way it was in 50s, 60s, 70s, then the generations nowadays would have no clue what any of this stuff is. So now you make sure that you create an atmosphere that's inviting for everybody, especially the future generations. What would you recommend for a solo Walt Disney World visitor to do that made different than going with the family? So for me, when I go solo, which was a lot, I focus more on the small details. I take my time, I walk around. For instance, today, I didn't ride any rides. I walked around and I enjoyed the Food and Wine Festival, and I tried to look at little details that I may have not noticed in the past. Walt Disney World is the same way. I walked around Epcot countless times. Magic Kingdom, Animal Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, countless times. Never rode one ride. I look at the facades to the buildings. I look at all of the architecture. I try to find hidden Mickeys. I take my time and I walk around and I take photos of places that I might have never seen before. And you know what? I found a lot of places that I've never seen before. And I continue to go there and find things that I've never seen before. When I go with my family, I have this problem with always wanting to maximize my time in the park to make sure that people that we take with us, they are getting the most for their money, right? My family and I, we have passes, so we don't really, they don't get to go as often as I do, so I want to make sure that they have a good time, but sometimes it feels like we cram way too much in. So I know they would appreciate slowing down a little bit and actually getting to see the parks as well. But as a solo trip, I really just walk around and take things in. There's just so much to take in. There's so many small details that we miss out on when we are with other people and your attention is on them, or your attention is on your phone trying to set up the next fast pass, or trying to check the ride times or mobile order food, where if you're on your own, you can just wander and take it all in. Next question is, what is still on your bucket list? Plenty is on my bucket list. I have not even scratched the surface of the things that I would like to go do and see. I would love to travel all over the world. I have never left our country. I went to Mexico, like Tijuana and stuff, when I lived in Southern California, but I never have left our country. The extent of my travel is inside the continental United States and Hawaii. So we're planning to do Disneyland Paris, and I would love to go to several countries, Germany, Ireland, Italy, you name it. I want to go and see it. I just want to explore. I want to and learn about the culture and see everything that the countries have historically, and learn about the cultures and the history of the countries, and just take it all in. There's so much amazing architecture out there that I would just love to go and see someday. So bucket list is everything, really. Next question is, when did you start going to Disney, and how often do your family and you go in a year? So, as I said in the first question, I started going to Disney as a child, growing up in Southern California, and then I moved to Illinois, and it didn't really do much Disney, and then I met my wife. We went to Disney a couple times early in our relationship, and then after our daughter was born, then we started going more as she got older, to create those memories and give her the ability to come to Disney and grow and be a part and love Disney. And we generally try to go a week trip every year, and sometimes we throw in a additional weekend. As a pass holder, it really becomes cost effective for us if we spend a week and a weekend throughout the year. to make it worth our money. We are also DVC members, so usually when we go, we'll stay in one of the resorts and use our vacation club points. And I generally tend to go a lot more, only because of what I do for work. I travel for work. I spent 2 years in Savannah, Georgia, and spent just about every weekend at Walt Disney World. And now I'm working in Phoenix, Arizona, so I purchased the pass, the Magic Key Pass for Disneyland, and I'm spending once a month I come over. It's like a 6-hour drive, so I'm not too interested in driving every weekend like I did at Walt Disney World from Savannah. So I generally come like once a month. So we'll see. Try to bring the family out here. If not, we'll go to Disney World. They don't have passes for Disneyland like I do, but they do have the Disney World passes. We are planning to do Oogie Boogie Bash this year. We haven't done it since 2019, so we want to do that again. We spent last Halloween at Disney World, so we want to do Disneyland this Halloween. And we've started bringing my brother-in-law as well. He enjoys the trips. So we've been doing that, taking her family members with us from time to time. And the last question on here is probably the hardest to answer. How do you manage so much time away from your family? The reality of it is I don't. The only way to manage the time away from my family is to keep my mind occupied. Coming to Disney, it does a little bit of occupying the mind, but at the same time, when I come here, it's like an emotional roller coaster, as I have to keep myself occupied and not think about not having my family with me, or it does get very emotional for me. The fireworks are emotional for me. I can remember as a child when we brought my daughter, watching the fireworks. So the Disneyland fireworks are really special to me, and it brings back a lot of memories of that. And so it does get very emotional being here without them. One of the things is I try to get friends to come with me, or try to make friends in the parks. I spent a lot of time at Disney World, and I have a lot of really great friends that I made there. The Gideon's, Bakehouse family down there, and people in the parks that I've met and would see in the parks and talk to in the parks and hang out in the parks. And so now at Disneyland, it's completely opposite. I don't really know anybody here. I haven't made any friends yet here, so it is rather lonely, walking around by myself. In time, I think in time, and the more I come, then I would be able to create the same thing I had at Disney World. I think some of that down there was just the bond of everybody with the Gideon's Bakehouse, where we don't really have that here. So managing the time away is just a matter of keeping my mind occupied and trying not to think about it, because it's extremely difficult. I see my family once every 2 months or so. So it is extremely difficult. Obviously, at some point, it'll be maybe this becomes my full-time career, and I can bring my family into it with me, and we can make this like a family-style vlog. The unfortunate part about it is that my daughter's 15, and so I've missed quite a bit of her childhood, and I look back and it's hard to say I regret the choices that I made, because I provided for my family and I made sure that they were taken care of with the roof over their head and food in the refrigerator and clothes on their back. But as a father, I missed out on a lot of the big moments in her life as she was growing up. So it's difficult. It really is. But I just keep myself occupied and try not to think about it. And then when I do go home, I try to spend as much time as I can with them, or when we go on vacations, usually to Disney. Then I try to cherish all that time that I have with them and make sure that we make the most of every moment. And that was the final question. There really wasn't a lot, but I do appreciate you guys asking the questions. I really want to build a community and help you to understand who I am, my background, and hopefully you enjoy the videos that I'm making. I'm getting a lot more comfortable with the camera. I'm getting a lot more comfortable in public, and so I'm working on my editing skills, and hopefully I can provide much better content as I progress in doing this. And hopefully you guys are interested in all of the things that I have to offer. It's not always Disney because I can't always get over here, so I've got some hiking stuff and rock hunting and stuff like that, and I know not everybody's interested in that, so I appreciate you guys continuing to tune into the channel, continuing to check out the Facebook page, and commenting and liking and sharing on the photos. It just helps me to grow the community, helps me to grow the pages, and I appreciate it. If you have any other questions, feel free to comment, ask away, and when I get some more questions tallied up, then we'll do another one of these. I enjoy it. I want you guys to know more about me, and so yeah, and if you got questions, throw them in the comments down below, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a great evening.